Hey guys, let's have some fun. Talk about real estate, talk about how it applies in today's atmosphere, why it doesn't even really matter, and what to look out for. Guys, this is good. Watch it, read it, absorb it, ask me questions. Okay, so some people, they're thinking that this is going to be a great buying opportunity. Housing prices, they're going to come crashing down. It's going to be like the Great Recession. You're going to be able to pick up a house for $20,000 and it's going to be worth $200,000 a few years later. Well, I think you are going to be greatly disappointed. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. Because when you try to time the market, you rarely get it right. And the very few who do truly just got lucky. So when you're crunching numbers and looking at data and you're trying to predict the future, just know that that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to be the Nostradamus of real estate. And really, how can you do that on a consistent basis? You can't. But here's the good news. You don't have to do that in real estate to do really well in real estate. And that's because a couple of things. Real estate, in a lot of ways, acts like compound interest. If your house appreciates, let's go conservative and say 3%, then the next year, the entire value of that new property appreciates again. So it does that again and again throughout its life, and it works just like compound interest, which a lot of people who invest know how powerful that can be. But whoa, it does not stop there. That's what's so great. Now, truly, the real estate market is such a driver for our economy in the United States that the government has given a lot of incentives in order to keep people putting money in real estate because it helps so much drive the economy in a positive way. So knowing the benefits of real estate is gonna teach you why, how, when you should buy real estate, why I love it, and let me give you a little tip. The when is always. You should always be buying real estate. Buy it when it's here, buy it when it's down here. It's like the daily cost averaging of buying stocks, just always buying real estate. Whenever you have the resources to buy real estate, you should, because there's a lot more benefits in buying real estate than just what you paid for it.
Let's start with rent. Look at the orange line and see how rent prices super consistently increase upwards. Then look at the purchase price. You see how it fluctuates up and down? Well, what that means is that if you don't lock in your mortgage monthly cost, then you will consistently pay more and more in rent your entire life. And that payment never goes away. Where your mortgage payment, at some point, you can pay off.
Now, technically, your house payment is taking money out of your pocket. So why is it any better, right? It's not technically an asset. It's a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket. But what you're doing when you lock in your mortgage is that you're saving. There's an inherent savings there because you're locking in the cost and it won't continue to go up forever like rent will. But also when you pay it off, that payment goes away forever. That's a huge savings as soon as you pay it off for the rest of your life. And I know that takes a while. I know it takes 30 years. Guys, there's strategies called velocity banking and other strategies where you can pay it off way faster. So don't just think that just because somebody's trying to sell you a 30-year loan, that's all there is. There's so many other better options to get that paid off quicker. But even if it does take you 30 years, guys, the way you're going to build wealth is with patience. The reason people get themselves in debt or in crazy financial situations is because they're just being impatient. They want something before they've earned it. And you got to get past that mindset. don't buy something until you've earned it. And if you don't have the money to go out and pay for it cash right now, you haven't earned it yet.
This is a fabulous graph because what it's showing you is that you don't want to get carried away with the ups and downs of purchase price because that just distracts you. If you're not buying and selling real estate like a day trader in stocks, then the price between when you buy it and sell it over a certain amount of years doesn't matter. What this graph is showing you is that the value of it is going to creep up. The ups and downs, the volatility in between it just don't matter. Don't get carried away with that because houses inherently appreciate and build you wealth throughout your life.
From personal experience, I've just witnessed so many people who say they're waiting for prices to drop again like they did in the Great Recession because they think that's normal. But what they don't know is that that just happened that one time during the Great Recession, and every recession's different. So there's no way you're going to be able to predict it, and you could be waiting your entire life for that to happen again. So in the meantime, they're missing a lot of opportunities. And also, if you really think about it, and prices go up dramatically over the years, and then finally they get cut in half because of some crazy happening in the world. Many times, if you really calculate it, you're still paying more than if you would have just bought it early in your life. So I just think people are thinking too much, and they also don't understand the additional benefits of having real estate. Even if you don't get it for half the price, if you just pay retail, there's still just so many benefits in having that piece of property.
This is another really good graph specific to Phoenix, Arizona and Metro Phoenix, showing you that, when prices go up crazy and they go down crazy, the volatility doesn't matter. Because if you really look at the standard 2 to 3 annual appreciation, it's pretty consistent. And the prices always go up fairly predictably when you look at it long term.
One of the main reasons that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer is because there is a great financial divide that happens, and it has a lot to do with inflation. So people are familiar with prices going up consistently and that it's known as inflation, but a lot of times they don't know how to, what they call, hedge against inflation or to protect yourself from inflation. So if you just stick your money in the bank, you know that money is worth less year after year after year. And when the bank is paying you 0.01% to keep that money and put it out for somebody else to borrow, think about why they're doing that. They want to pay you as little as possible so that they can go out there and they can take advantage of inflation and they can leverage that money and they can hedge and they can use that money to make more money. So that's why it's really important for you to do that for yourself, and you do that through investing in tangible things that people will always need, things that go up in cost due to the materials, and due to that, it costs more to make it, it costs more to produce it, therefore the value of that goes up. With real estate, the value of land pretty consistently goes up because you can never make more of it, so it's in finite supply. But also, to build a house, the material needed to build that house goes up in price, so the cost to build it goes up, therefore the value of it goes up. So if you put your money in real estate, it can consistently go up with inflation. Now, the easiest way to understand it is that if people are investing in things like real estate and precious metals like gold and silver and platinum and all the other types of metals and things like that are in finite supply, the value of what they have goes up, therefore the value of their money stays consistent or goes up. They get more money because of how inflation works. But if you just put your money in the bank, your spending power goes down, so you can buy less and less with that same dollar. And that's how you get poorer. Not that you're making less, you're likely making more than you did a few years ago, but the value of that dollar buys you less. The value of those dollars are still less for the person who has invested it wisely, but they have more of those dollars because what they invested in is worth more dollars.
This is a great graph to wrap up on because it shows inflation. It's very consistent, and since the 70s, it's gone up extremely fast. And even compared to the adjusted inflation rate, compared to wage growth, inflation definitely outpaces wage growth. So your buying power is decreasing consistently.
Real estate is consistently provided this hedge against inflation very effectively, but at the same time, while you own this property, you have these benefits from the government where you can deduct all the interest of the money you've borrowed to buy that product, and you can deduct that on your taxes, but you can also deduct all the expenses if it's an investment. During that whole time, they have what's called depreciation. What depreciation is it's basically the value of your property divided by 27 and a half years, is what they say is their estimated lifespan of that property that you can deduct on your taxes as well. So you can deduct all your expenses, and you can deduct an additional formula of depreciation. And then on top of that, there's additional strategies to help save on taxes. Or if it's using the benefits of your homestead and selling your primary residence, there's so many different strategies. And on top of that, when you buy the house, if it's primary or even if it's an investment, you can really use the power of leveraging, because you have such good interest rates and down payment programs to initially buy the real estate. There's also a lot of instruments you can use in addition to that, like your retirement accounts. You can use your self-directed IRAs. There's so many different instruments, but talk to your retirement account planner to get more details on that. There's also ways that you can defer taxes by using a 1031 tax deferred exchange. There's lots of instruments to take advantage of the loopholes. Loopholes is not a bad word. Loopholes are legal strategies to help you benefit by putting your money where the government wants you and would like to see you put your money for whatever reason. So don't overthink trying to time the market, and stick to the most important things, which is getting yourself in a mortgage that makes sense for how much money you make. So conservative mortgage, so that if something happens, you can still afford the mortgage. And then also being conservative with your savings and your debt control, and just let the market do its thing and take advantage of all those benefits. And by doing that, it's really hard to make mistakes. And the reason it's hard to make mistakes is because the only time you can really lose money is if you're forced to sell in a down market. And if you put yourself in a position that you never have to do that, you can always wait it out till the market comes back, even goes up higher, and then at some point sell, cash out, pull out your equity, make your money, move on. Life is good.